Welcome back to Incremental Factory. This is an overview of the factory right now. We have Gen 1 chips here, Gen 2 here, Gen 3 here, Gen 4 chips here, and all this up here is Gen 5. So we are going to take a look at white science today. White science is super involved. We will zoom in here and take a quick look at one of the parcels to look at some of the numbers. I won't spend too much time on the numbers, but it is quite involved. In order to get white science, you need to launch a rocket. Rocket launch pad requires 1 satellite and 100 rocket parts, gives you 400 white science. Now, if we were to launch 1 rocket per second, that would be 400 white science per second. That is a crazy, ridiculous amount. It's probably not even obtainable. I think the game would, or I know my computer would crash before it would allow me to pull it that many parcels down. So we're going to shoot for 1% of that, which would be 4 white science per second. So most of my other science I'm producing at 4 to 12 per second. So that seems in line with what we could expect. But in order to do that, we will need to launch basically 1% of what is required there. So 1% of a satellite and 1% of 100 rocket parts. So 1% works out well for the rocket parts. It's only 1 rocket part we need, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still quite involved. And then 1/100th of a satellite. The satellite is not too bad, 300 copper plates, but 1% of that would be, what, 30? So, not too bad actually. 1% would be 3. So, anyways, 3 copper plates, 1.8 iron plates, plastics, Gen 5 chips. It requires 100 Gen 5 chips, but since we're doing 1%, it would only be 1. So all that's not too bad. But then we need 100 rocket parts, which means we need 1 rocket part. Rocket part assembly is 4 fuel cells, 4 light density structures, and 4 rocket control units. So if we look at the LDS, that is just copper, plastics, and steel, nothing bad. Fuel processing, it's petroleum and coal, nothing too crazy. And the rocket control unit is right here. This requires all the Gen chips that we've been making. You'll notice that now we need to make 1 rocket part per second. So that means we'll need 50 Gen 1 chips to make a rocket control unit. And now the rocket part requires 4 rocket control units, so we'll actually need 4 of those. So we'll need 200 Gen 1 chips per second to launch a rocket at 1% speed. So let's take a look at our things right now. Right now we are only producing 64 green science or green chips per second. So we don't want to touch that because we need that to construct buildings with, and some stuff costs green chips, so we're going to leave that alone. We are going to build a separate factory that is capable of producing the required 200 Gen 1 chips per second. So let's take this area over here and work on Gen 1 chips. Gen 1 chips, we're going to need, let's start with quartz. We're going to need 1,200 quartz per second. So that comes out to roughly 36 extractor parcels full of quartz miners. So let's go ahead and put 1 down, put a node and an extractor parcel down. This is quartz. So that gives us 33.6 quartz. We're going to need 36 of these, so let's copy that up. 4, 8, 9, 10. Alright, that's 18. Let's grab this and just copy it over. That'll be the 36 required. It's going to take a minute to copy. And there should be just enough room on these nodes to connect them together. Alright, that quartz goes into 12.5 parcels full of silicone. We have some coal up top so that when we copy it, it hooks them up together so I don't have to drag lines. We will need 12 of these. And then we will need some additional coal. Alright, that's silicone. We need a similar setup for copper ore and copper smelting and copper plates or copper cables. So let's get that set up real quick and then we will have the Gen 1 chip factory done. Alright, there is our 200 Gen 1 chip per second factory. Nice and condensed and organized. Copper there, quartz below it. Copper plates being made here. This goes into copper cable production. This has to split out to 2 nodes because it is 64 and it can only output 32. And this goes into, once it hits the nodes, it combines and then goes down to the Gen 1 chip factories and off to the final node, which we will just connect into the bus. Gen 2 chips, we need 100 per second. This is making 72. I think I'm just going to copy this down. If I do another playthrough, I will work on making one big factory. Require almost 2 million bricks. See if we can squeeze it in down here. Gen 3 chips, we are making 32 per second. We need 40 per second just for the rocket. So I'm just going to copy and double this as well so that we can get to the white science today. I might come back and reorganize my factory and redesign these so that it looks more like this. This looks very organized. This looks organized but a little chaotic when we start copying it. I don't know if it's going to even let me copy this much. That is 3,100,000 bricks. So that is going to take some time. I think Gen 4 chips we have just enough of, and Gen 5 we definitely have enough of. Gen 5 we only need 5 per second. We're making 16. Let's start building some of the framework for the rocket parts and satellites. We need a couple parcels here. Let's add 2 more. This one will be for light density structures. I think that's what it's called, LDS factory. So we need 4 of these. So that is LDS. Then we need 1 making fuel cells. We actually need about 4.5 fuel cells. So this puts out 1, so we'll do 5 of these. And then we need 1 for rocket control units. And we need 4 rocket control units. So rocket control units, that produces 1, so we need 4 of these. That costs to build 500 white chips. Alright, so let's look at this one at LDS here. We need copper, plastics, and steel. I guess let's start with the copper. Copper plates, we need 83-ish. So that's copper smelter here. Let's just max it out. That's 32. So before I copy this, we will start building the copper mines. That way we can drag and drop. We don't have to drag the line to each one. So we're going to need a node here. And we're going to need an extractor parcel. So this is the basic framework for the copper. We need 80 copper plates, so that is 64. So we can drop one of these down to 16, but we'll just leave it so that we have them if we need it. Doesn't cost much, and it's not going to operate if it's not needed. So we just need copper and coal to support this. There's copper plates. Let's throw this down here. Let's grab another node just in case we need to move it around. There's copper plates. Copper plates. Next up we need plastics. 4 times 5, we need 20 plastics. Plastics is up here. Plastics is just petroleum barrel, gives you 3 plastics. So we're going to need 23 plastics, so that's going to be 8 of these would be 24. That gives us 24 plastics. We need to get coal in here as well as petroleum. Petroleum is just oil wells at the oil refinery, so let's get that set up. Now petroleum we're also going to need for the fuel cells, so we're going to need 53 petroleum barrels total, so that will be, I'm just going to do 2 parcels of, we'll just do 2 parcels of petroleum, and that'll be 16 of these. Now plastics need coal, but they don't need a whole lot of it. We're only making 8, so I think that is only 4 coal needed, so we'll just throw a coal mine inside here for now. That makes, I don't know how many it makes, 0.69, so 7, should be roughly 7 of them. So that'll get plastics going. And last up for the light density structure, we need steel. And you're going to need 8 steel total plus 3 steel for the satellite, so that's 11 steel. So let's find the steel mill. We'll do 12 of them, which is going to require 60 iron plates. Let's send steel off to this node here. This will be iron plates. We'll need 60 of them. That is 32. Let's drag our connections first. Iron plates. Iron plates. This will be iron ore. We can copy that up. And this will be iron ore. Drag that over there. That'll get steel up and running. We just gotta add some extra iron nodes and some coal in here. Let's move these out of the way. Move this over to here. That way we can just sneak coal up out of this node into here and into here. And we'll keep an eye on this coal. We might need to add an extra coal that I'll calculate it out in a minute. But that is steel up and running. Steel needs to go down to the LDS factory and over to the production parcel. I got light density structures going. Next up is fuel cells. Fuel cells require petroleum, which we already made, and coal, so that'll be pretty simple. Grab the fuel cell, bring it down here. This is petroleum already being made. Let's put that into a node. And connect that up to the fuel cell. Then we just need some coal. Gonna actually need more than one node here, but let's get it hooked up. This is coal. I guess we'll stick it in here. Let's grab another one of these. That should be fuel cells operational. There we are, they're being made already. Before we get to the rocket control units, let's go ahead and do the satellite. We just need, I think, 1 building for that. That requires a whole bunch of stuff. Plastics we already made. Iron plates and copper plates are pretty simple. Gen 5 chips are already being made. Fuel cells are already made. and steel's all being made, so we just got to connect up this stuff to it. Alright, for the satellite we can grab some of the iron plates out of here. Grab those down to there. And into there. Copper plates we can grab from here. Into there. I don't know if we'll have enough connections for this. What's next? We need steel. Steel we can just grab from here. We're also going to need plastics. Plastics are right here as well. Plastics, we need some fuel cells. Fuel cells are, let's grab a node. Take fuel cells into there. Then up to here. What else are we missing? We need Gen 5 chips, and that should be it. Rocket control units just need the generation chips. I just branched off the main bus over here and brought all the chips down so we can use them for future. I'm not going to quite hook this up yet because this is going to start the whole factory running like crazy. I want to be prepared for it. So let's grab another node, another production, another node. The production would be for the rocket parts. We just need one rocket part per second, so that should be good there. This needs fuel cells, rocket control units, and light density structures, which we just made. So we just have to grab the fuel cells, grab the light density structures. Why did it assign that? Because I drug it to the wrong node. Light density structure here. Rocket control units up to here. This will output rocket parts. Light density structures, rocket control units, and fuel cells. That should be everything we need. And I think we just need a rocket launch pad, right? Let's put this down, pan down here. Rocket launch pad requires satellite and rocket parts, so we're just going to do one of these. That was not very expensive to build, surprisingly. So let's grab the rocket parts in here, the satellite from here, and I'll output to a node, and then we'll have to grab a warehouse. This will output white science. We gotta go grab a warehouse. Alright, so there's the warehouse attached. We have everything we need, I believe. The minute I hook this up, I think it's going to tank our energy because it is basically going to use all the generation chips, which means this whole factory is going to turn on all at once. So we'll see where the bottlenecks are at that point and try to fix them. We might have to disconnect this to fix the power situation. But let's go ahead and hook it up and see what happens. Alright, here we go. Put them up there anyway. So let's see what turned green. Right now we're just burning through the buffer. You know, the nodes have 1200 stored up, so let's grab this over to science. 0 white science. It's going to take a hot minute to get it done. Surprisingly, this isn't turning on. What is this? Oh, this is white chips, so this we have a lot extra. It's actually transporting 0. That's strange. I guess it's 4 per second here. 4 per second, okay. It has 400 rocket parts, but no satellites. Satellites have everything they need. Oh, except we didn't hook up Gen 5 chips to this. That's why it's not working. So let's grab Gen 5 chip. That should fire everything up. This is green. Look at our science going up. Super awesome. 3,760 right off the bat. Yeah, our energy is fluctuating. So we're going to have to address this energy situation. I don't know if there's any reason to use solar panels. I feel like I can copy this. Solar panels might be slightly more efficient parcel-wise, but it seems like this, I can copy one of these setups and it just lasts forever. If I copy these, it takes forever to get enough electricity going. So I don't know what the advantage is. I'm already at the minimum yield, so it's not like it can go any lower. So I'm just going to copy this. But while that's working, since we're struggling with power, let's go ahead and grab the research. We can now do this energy efficiency. Let's go ahead and research that. Tier 10. Looks like maybe it might go forever. We could do another version of it, but we'll just wait and see. We could actually complete the game for now. We already have 2,500, but we're going to work on some of the military stuff first. We should probably do these beacons, get these operational. Alright, so everything appears to be working. We are making white science at a somewhat decent rate. We already have 13,000 stored up, so that's pretty good. The research doesn't require a lot of white science yet. I assume as we go through it, it will increase how much white science it requires. But that's going to do it for this episode. We got rockets launching, white science being made. I might do another episode where we start increasing our research capability and kind of ratioing that out so that we can start increasing some of these research levels. I would like to see if I can dig down far enough to see if we ever get 100% yield out of this. Right now we're at 70%. But yeah, thanks for watching. That's going to do it for this episode. We'll see you next time.